This is Breaking MedTech. I'm Ryan. This is Cope. I haven't said this lately. No one's allowed to call you Mark.
Except people I don't like. They can call me Mark. Friends. My friends call me Cope. Let's be friends.
Okay. And on this video podcast or this show, this is a show where we help small med tech, med device companies. I never know. Like, are they the same, by the way?
No, I don't think so.
They're kind of. They're similar. They're cousins. Grow through digital sales and digital marketing. Right?
Yeah. And expand their business without having to spend a lot of money up front because they don't have a lot of money and it's every dollar counts.
Yeah.
So, and today's episode is Founder Brand, which I think is a pretty cool one. And I didn't know anything about this until Ryan introduced me to it a couple of years ago. Founder Brand, what the heck is it and how do you execute it? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about, beforehand we were saying like, let's name a couple of famous founder brands that everybody would know. You used the one that I tend to shy away from, but he's Steve Jobs, right? Mm-hmm. Was very well known for that. Ted Turner kind of was like that with TBS, I think.
Tina Turner. Different. Okay.
Fabulous brand. Yeah. I don't know. We don't need another hero, Ryan. So we got Steve Jobs.
Jobs.
Founder brand. We'll explain what that means in a minute.
I'll explain why I think Steve Jobs is founder brand.
You mentioned Richard Branson of Virgin.
Yep.
And let's see. And we were talking about within med device, someone we follow and really admire and like is Bill Hunter of Canary Medical.
Mark has a crush on him.
I do. I've told him so. Okay. And he doesn't hang up as fast as he used to.
Okay.
So that's good. Big
I hope I've made
Bill
it
Hunter.
awkward for you next time. Those three examples. I'll let me kind of explain why.
What is the definition?
What's the definition, or a founder brand is that it's someone who literally founded a company, though it can be done with someone who maybe isn't the founder of the company, but is like the voice or the face of the company.
Yeah, but it tends to be like you could say Elon Musk is a founder brand, even though some people say, well, he didn't create that, but he is sort of the face of a couple different companies.
And the reason why you would do it, or like what is a founder brand? So it is like Steve Jobs. Okay. And I would almost go like Steve Jobs 2.0 when he came back from being banished from his company
to come back to run his company.
Like he the way he approached it, he basically was the mouthpiece and the one talking about like, here are the problems that we're solving and here's what you don't like about it. Like I recommend people go watch I literally told you to go watch it a couple weeks ago, the iPhone introduction.
Yeah.
It is one of the most amazing storytelling, problem solving,
which is a topic we're going to discuss another time. But storytelling.
He's the mouthpiece. He's talking about it. You can identify it with it. It's not just a logo of an apple.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, what does that logo say? Like he's the one out front going.
Okay. So my assumption is when you say founder brand, immediately people think the founder.
Yeah.
So you're saying it doesn't have to be, but generally, like that's where it emanates from, right? Yeah. It's somebody who is the creator, concept creation, and the sort of face and mouthpiece of it, right?
And it would be for most companies, small companies, right? Like why are we calling it a founder brand? Is because it's usually the founder who's the person who's like, man, this thing really sucks. I'm going to go make something that fixes this specific problem.
Right. They tend to be an evangelist, right? I mean, to an extent.
Yeah, and they have an advantage because they care. I jokingly said on a post a couple of weeks ago, like they literally don't shut up about it at parties. Right. Like they're that annoying person to be like, did you see?
Wait a second. Did you just call my friend Bill Hunter annoying? I don't believe so.
I would never call Bill. I've never met Bill Hunter, so I would never call him annoying. Nor have I been at a party with him.
Your point is well made that they can sometimes be that person that this is all they seem to talk about because it's all they tend to think about.
Yeah.
And it's the problem they try to solve. So, okay, so that's a founder brand or examples of it. We gave some examples. Now, continue on your description of what they do.
So what they do is they put a face to a company that solves a problem, which is like at the core, what I love about founder brands is that like I don't know you from Adam. I believe that's how that saying goes.
Yes.
Like, I don't know you from Adam. What's this? You have this product. Like, how am I supposed to trust you? It's just this random thing. Like, that's hard. But
Right.
when you put someone who's a founder behind it for a small company who's so passionate and an evangelist, and they talk about it and they can show their expertise and all, like, it adds a bit of credibility to a unknown product.
Yeah, well, even on the basis part of our brain, we remember faces and we connect them with something, right? So you're like, oh, that's the guy, or she's the one that does the thing.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful way to create some sort of recognition.
Yeah.
Right?
And
memorability in some ways.
exactly. All right. And here's why it's beneficial for small companies. Because let's just get this out of the way. It's free. Okay? It's free.
It costs
you
nothing. Almost nothing.
nothing, right? Like, assuming that you already have a cell phone or a laptop, okay?
Right.
In an email. You could do it on LinkedIn.
Okay.
If you're a B2B, okay? And if you go like, oh, this, like, well, does it work? Like, yeah, it works. It works in B2B. Bill Hunter does it.
Yeah.
If Steve Jobs was alive,
Super
I was doing the
70s
I was
Sky
doing the
Point.
Sammy Sosa. If he was alive, I guarantee you, and he was building a startup, and like no one knew who Steve Jobs was, I'm pretty sure he would use Twitter or LinkedIn.
Well, he did it. He just didn't have social media
he didn't have
to
social
do it,
media.
but he did it on every other platform that was available.
And the nice thing now is that, like, you could do it for free, right?
Right. So this is not, these people are not, I mean, they are, but they're not a hired spokesperson.
No.
But they are the spokesperson.
They're the spokesperson.
Right.
And you could do it for, and why I say you could do it for free is, like, if you're using LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever you're using, you just have to record it. And if you have a phone,
Okay.
everyone has a phone, like almost, I wish I didn't have a phone, but everyone has a phone. Like, that's it. That's all you need. You can upload stuff to YouTube for free.
So it's free.
It's free.
It's proven to be very effective for certain people, but don't you have to have a big ego to do that?
No.
Don't you have to be arrogant? Come on.
Do you want me to say yes?
No.
I don't
Aren't
think-
you a narcissist?
I am a narcissist, but that's besides the point.
Not you.
Them. No, you don't have to be. In fact, like, that's, now don't get me wrong. In fact, you and I had a conversation about this offline of, like, I think narcissists make people who should be doing founder brands. So narcissist on LinkedIn or narcissist on Twitter or narcissist on whatever social platform you're talking about, turn off people who should be doing founder brands because they're like, oh,
I don't want to be that
I don't want to
person.
be that person. And I would tell you, you know what? Go read not Dave Ramsey, Dave Gerhardt's book, Founder Brand, who literally lays out exactly how to do this. He actually tells you in the book, pick that person. Identify who you don't want to be, and just don't be that person.
Do the exact
opposite of it. So if you're like, oh man, this person always takes photos or does this weird thing, or like, I never want to be that. All right, just don't be that person. Like, what?
Yeah.
If that's your thing that's stopping you, then I don't know how you get out of bed in the morning.
Okay, so you answered the question that you don't have to be a narcissist. As a matter of fact, most of the really good ones aren't narcissists.
No.
But in many cases, they're such an evangelist and such a great spokesperson that they realize the more they're out in front of people doing it, the better the company does.
Yes.
The more memorable, the more recognizable,
so
right?
And like, when I look at what type of content these people are putting out, it's engagement content. So you're engaging people, because that's ultimately the main thing, that, like, you're a mouthpiece, you're trying to say things, you're trying to show expertise, you're doing it, but, like, you're engaging people. And then steal from Donald Miller, because he describes it this way, of like, or curiosity, or I've heard it, you're enlightening people. So you're engaging people by saying things that they care about.
About your product?
About the problem that you solve.
Bingo. Okay. All right, that's
not about the problem. And you can talk about your product. And I actually think you could talk about your product in a way that is more impactful than like a PDF carousel.
Yeah.
I do love those. But you can talk about your problem that you solve and educate the audience that they actually have a problem to solve. I was reading a book by April Dunford. I'm just naming authors. I was reading a book. I actually don't read any of these books. I listen to audiobooks. My wife gets so mad when I buy books. So I don't know how to read. April Dunford was talking about the fact that like when you are selling to someone, it's really important that you have to describe the problem because most customers that you're selling to don't realize they have that problem and they're just kind of okay with it.
Yeah.
Or it's just like, oh, it's part of life.
Right. Right.
And they don't realize they have the problem or how impactful the problem is. Like,
Yeah. So the founder doing that, that's part of what they're doing. Is they're talking about the problem that April was saying. You got to talk about.
You got to talk about it. You got to explain it. You have to explain to people how it impacts them. You have to, like, when we sell to people, which is ultimately what we're trying to do. When you sell to people, you make a lot of assumptions that they know they're looking at the newest and greatest things. Yeah. That they even know that they have a problem, that they know all of the implications of that problem. They don't. Most of them don't. So like when you're talking about that engagement and enlightenment stuff, it's problem focused.
So I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so the founder brand, I think, and this sort of, I came to this, I might be wrong. I think most founders, let's just say in small med device, and by the way, Bill Hunter, not a narcissist. I'm just putting that on the record.
Yeah, Bill, he just wants you to know that.
I got to keep this.
Please talk.
I got to keep that.
Yeah, please keep talking.
He's my guy. He's Canadian. He doesn't have an ego.
They just won last night.
Maybe he's got one today. So I think what founders often think about is if I do this, it's going to be towards investors. Like, do you find that to be the case? Like that I've watched people at LSI and MDTM, whatever and they're talking about the problem. They're very comfortable standing up there because they're pitching why somebody should invest in them. But it seems like when they want to do it to sort of gain customers, sometimes it seems like there's some similarities. But do you find like this founder brand, it does translate the product, their product that they're selling and their market, not just to investors, because investors always want to know who they're investing in, right? Yeah. So it makes sense in founder brand founders to do it towards investors. But customers want to know who they're buying too.
Yeah, and you could still talk about your product, and you could talk about it, I think, in an authentic way. You sent me a video the other day of a founder who was literally filmed something on his phone of going like,
"Oh yeah,"
and like that's authentic. That's a really authentic way to, and that works on social media because people don't like overly produce things. And there are a lot of benefits to having a founder brand outside of just the fact that you're going to attract your audience and you're doing it for a extremely low cost. If you have a founder brand and you're good at it and you're personable and people follow you, you're going to be asked to speak at meetings, right? Conferences. You're going to trade shows. Like you're going to be asked to speak at these things. You maybe not on about your product, but maybe like, hey, you're an anesthesiologist. You're an anesthesiologist, nurse anesthetist. You're a nurse anesthetist who has spent 30 years in the OR, and you are completely equipped and educated, and you know your stuff, and you could talk about stuff all day long on whatever.
It doesn't have to be social media,
right? And you talk about it all the time. And what are you going to do eventually get invited to? Probably if you're good and people trust you and you're an expert, like the end goal is like, guess who's going to speak at a anesthesiologist conference? They're going to ask Mark to come in and talk about,
emerging trends.
Yeah, emerging trends or blah, blah. Like there are things that you could talk about, and you might even have your own product line. You probably do, right? In this scenario, right? You have maybe your own disposable video laryngoscope. I don't know if that's a thing.
It's not.
Okay.
Go ahead. Please continue.
The video, I don't know what part would be disposable. But like guess who got brought in? Guess who gets brought in and now gets a bigger audience, and people now know that, or you attract investors, and like that it's not just like, I know a lot of people are probably out there going like, well, it's probably, this only works for consultants. No, it works for real people who run real like, do you not think of like if they were doing a panel on emerging technology in orthopedics, that Bill Hunter might be considered to come in and talk, not about his product, though they might ask about the data from his product, but just going like, where do you see technology taking implantation in the next 20 years?
Yeah.
Right now, his technology may allow that to happen, but knowing that he's Canadian and Canadians are extremely modest human beings, that he's going to maybe talk about his data a lot more and go, here's where we're seeing, here are the trends that we're seeing, here's what we're thinking. In fact, I've seen him talk about that type of stuff, and he doesn't talk about his product. He's like, he's not, or if he does talk about it, he's like, data we've collected.
Right.
He's not going like, this thing is awesome. This thing's like, and here's where we see it going, and here's what we think. But he's only ever been able to do that because he's built a founder brand. If he never said anything to anybody and he just never hopped on LinkedIn and never did anything, I can guarantee you his life would be completely different.
So let's take it off of social media for a second. Let's put it in 1975. The method still works. You're just doing it in different, you're doing it at conferences, you're doing it, but like it takes more time. It's slower because you don't have the.
You need PR.
Right.
You need to spend a lot of money on PR.
News. You're on the national news. Hopefully, you're in newspapers. It's the same stuff.
You like the benefit for me is like you control your own audience, right? Where before, like we'll go completely off the radar here, like not off the radar, but like off the hook. No, it's not. Mr. Beast.
Right. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Giant company now, or a giant media mogul. Okay. Literally was a kid who just started filming YouTube videos. And you know what the fun thing about him is like, I actually don't watch any of his videos, but like, he didn't get famous from doing TikTok dances, or it's like, he was like, very serious about it. Like I think you told me once is like his thing was like, I'm going to film everything in as high of a quality as possible. So like every dollar, if he made $5,000 on, don't quote me on this, but I'm 99% sure I've heard him talk about this. If he made $5,000 on a YouTube video, he went out and bought a $5,000 camera. So his next one would actually be shot better. And but he came out of nowhere. It's not like there was anything like and Mr. Beast wouldn't be Mr. Beast. I feel silly calling him that. If he didn't put out videos, like that's the point is like, he wouldn't be who he was if he didn't put out videos. You can make fun of the TikTok dancers who make millions of dollars because of their dance moves, but like they wouldn't, at least they danced. They danced their hearts out, Mark Cope. They danced their hearts out. But they like, I think it's stupid. You might think it's stupid. But like.
I love the expression that dance allows people.
You've never danced in your life.
No. But your point is.
They did it.
They did it. They're experts in something.
Yes.
And they've attracted people to them. And it allows you to.
You control your own. These people make money because they.
Yeah. So let's
control their own audience.
Let's wrap it this way. Founder brand lets you deliver your message for almost no money.
Yeah.
Which helps when you're a startup.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Yeah.
It's not something that you're going to buy ads and see. But it makes you more recognizable.
Yep.
Makes you people are more comfortable buying your product eventually. You actually attract people to you if you do it the right way. And is it something that you think every med device founder, small med device, should be doing? Or they should all be considering it.
I think they should all
Right.
be considering it. I do think that there are, like, we're being very honest, I think there are limitations. You have to be able to talk.
Okay,
right?
you have to have some.
You have to have some passion, some personality,
Some charisma.
Some charisma. And you can become comfortable over time. Nobody likes getting in front of cameras.
No.
I don't like getting in front of cameras. You don't like getting in front of cameras. But I do it. You do it. It happens through time and effort, right? And so, if you got a real stick in the mud
Yeah.
founder, right, it's going to be really hard to do it.
Yeah.
So, but I would tell you, like, there might be someone on your team who's super charismatic. Can you utilize them? Because you don't always have to be an expert.
Right.
You could also be I forgot how it's described. Like, you could go grab other people who are experts and interview them, or like, so you could be a collector. I'm just going to call it collector.
Yeah.
But like, you could do it that way, or maybe like you as the founder, you're really comfortable typing stuff and writing stuff out, but you're not like good at writing for LinkedIn. You're really good at writing Tolkien. You know how Tolkien writes, so he's very. You do too. Do not act like you don't know how Tolkien
You can
writes.
hear the sound of people turning off their cell phones right now.
No, they're not. So you suck at writing. You don't know how to write for LinkedIn, but you know what to say. You don't know how to write for LinkedIn. Go hire a ghostwriter. Okay. You're not really good at doing video by yourself, but you're good with having somebody else with you. Like, I can ask you questions. You're an expert. I can ask you questions. You're going to answer them. Get someone who is your co-host.
Okay.
And they're going to throw stuff at you. And it's not just you standing in front of a camera because so there's ways around it. So like, as much as I would say, like, it's not for everybody, it is for everybody. You just got to find a unique way to do it.
That's a good way to answer that question, because I hadn't thought about it that way. It doesn't mean you have to be the star, but it means you need to be at the forefront of it. And that helps. Okay. So our takeaway message is for people who are interested in learning about this, I would say follow Ryan. He posts about it a lot on LinkedIn and can explain it to you. You can call him. He would explain it to you. You can get Dave Gerhard's Founder Brand book, which is excellent.
Yeah.
Right?
And if I was going to give anyone advice of like how to go do it, like, if you want to start today, because that would be like, don't wait, start today, would be, number one thing I hear anyone ever say to me is, I don't know what to talk about. Okay. So here's 3 really easy things to do. What are you an expert in? Okay. So you're an expert in sales. I know you whisper about something, but you're an expert in sales. So you might be selling, maybe you have a sales product. You don't, but if I asked you to just every single day write about sales issues that happen that you see in med device, you would be able to write about that and then give some examples of like ways that's solved, right? So if I'm an anesthesiologist who's developed a video laryngoscope system that solves all of these problems, what you don't want to do is just talk about the video laryngoscope system. What you want to do is attract the audience who's interested in those laryngoscopes. So you're going to talk about all the problems that anesthesiologists face when it comes to, I would say, product adjacent stuff. So like, I don't know, emergency situations. And one time I did this and we did this, or I saw a colleague do this, and like you're actually giving advice. Number 1. Okay.
Okay.
Number 2 would be, what are you an evangelist for? Okay. So like, what are you an evangelist for about, like, man, we really got to improve the way that we're doing, video laryngoscope stuff, or man, we really have to, let's say you were a company that does native ortho, preservation-based soft tissue, sports medicine stuff. Like, hey, we've come a long way with the way that we've done orthopedics, but we got to move to the next level of doing preservation-based sports medicine, right? And you just don't shut up about it, right? And you're an evangelist. So if everybody knows what are you about,
When they think preservation orthopedics,
they think of you,
they think of you.
because you don't shut up about it. And that's what you want.
Right.
And then the last part would be like, you talk about what it's like growing your company. Okay. Because as much as you don't think people are interested in that, people are actually interested in that.
Fascinated by it.
Hey, I had this great conversation. Hey, I saw this. Hey, we're going through Series A and we're going through these things. Here's things I didn't know. Hey, we just hired a new person, blah, blah, blah. I remember sharing stuff like that is super important, right? And those are like 3 easy pillars. It's like write 50 things, which shouldn't be hard, of like 50 things. If you're an expert in something, I could sit down and write 50 sales and marketing problems that small medical device companies write. And then I could literally answer all of them.
Yep.
If I was I'm an evangelist for digital sales and marketing, I don't shut up about it. Okay.
Right.
The only thing is, like, I'm not building a small medical device company, but like if I was, and I was going through Series A and I was talking to investors and I was hiring people and here's a struggle and here's something cool and we're dealing with a customer and blah, blah, blah. Like, those are 3 topics. You post 3 times a week. I get, like, you don't have to do it a lot. You post three times a week and it's actually impactful stuff and you're interacting with your audience. You will grow awareness. If you grow awareness, more people will go to your company's website. If more people go to your company's website, you will get more people who are interested in your product. And it won't happen tomorrow. It won't happen in a week from now, but in 3 to 6 months, if you actually dedicate your time to do this, you will grow.
As we say, 2026, you thanks you for doing what you're doing in 2025.
I go reverse. That's future Ryan problems. This is future Ryan saying, hey, thanks, bud. In my mind, he's on the other side of that window waving back at me. So.
All right. So consider Founder Brand.
Go read Founder Brand book.
Go get the Founder Brand book. We'll put the link to it in the show notes. And we don't wet our beak on this. Start.
Yeah.
Like, just take one step and start, because it will help your business. It will grow your business. Even if you're not sure you're that interesting, I guarantee you probably are. We would probably find you interesting, and nobody thinks you're a narcissist, especially you, Bill Hunter. This has been Breaking Med Tech. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.